Hi and welcome to my playhouse, and today we're in the data center and we're going to be talking about a noisy server. It's a Hewlett Packard. They're usually not noisy. It has a RAID controller, and I want to just show you how you configure your disks in a RAID controller. I get a lot of comments on older videos, and a lot of the time I get comments from people that has just gotten a server and they don't understand why the server doesn't forward the disk to the operating system. Not everybody entirely know how a RAID controller works, so I wanted to show on this Hewlett Packard. Well, it says it's a HP. I think it's a Hewlett Packard Enterprise server, but it's not bragging about that, so it might be too old. I don't know. But how you put the disks in the server, and the RAID controller sees those disks, and you decide what the RAID controller should do with those disks in cooperation with what the RAID controller can do with those disks, and then it presents it to the operating system in some configuration. So yeah, we're gonna have a look at that. And this is the server in question, the one with the lights on. So this one, it can handle 24 drives, but there's nothing in these. There is 8 bays here and they are active. I have fillers in the last 2, so there's only 6 drives in here. These are the drives that we're going to be playing with. It has 2 480 gigabyte SAS drives here. I think these might be SSDs, and then there's 1 terabyte drives, 4 of those, and as it says 4.2K, those are spinning disks, and that's quite the giveaway. So when it says 10K here, these might be spinning disks as well, now that I came to think of it. So but it could also be that the disks inside, I've changed them out to something else, so we will know when we get inside of the system. But right now they are sitting in there. I'm sure I have configured something on them. So when you boot your server, and this being a Hewlett Packard one, there is an F10 option, and that will bring you into this. And you can kind of, let's see, does this work? This works. And you can kind of do stuff in here. You can configure and install, and you can perform maintenance. And this gives us access to powerful tools. The other one does as well, but I think this one is the one that we want, so we'll pick that one. And over here we see we have our Hewlett Packard Smart Storage Administrator, SSA. And that's where we want to go to configure the RAID controller and how the RAID controller shows the configuration to the operating system. Right now we are in the BIOS of the server. This is not the operating system, this is the backbone, the BIOS thing of the server. So we can press out here, we get a little hand. So let's go in there, and it will load the Hewlett Packard Smart Storage Administrator. It always takes a bit when you're waiting for it. And this one has a very nice P440ar Raid Controller inside of it, and that's not a bad RAID controller at all. So pretty cool. Here we get an overview of this thing. We get the server up here, and then we have the RAID controller. If we had other RAID controllers, they would have been listed here, and that is not uncommon. You can have an internal RAID controller. You can have like an external RAID controller if you have like disk shelves mounted to the server. It's very normal that that will be on a different RAID controller than the internal one. On newer servers you might have an additional RAID controller. If you have 2 bootable NVMe drives in there, it might pop up as an additional RAID controller. I do also know that I have an error on this one. I was told in the BIOS getting in here that the BIOS that the RAID controller battery is complaining. So let's try and go in and see what the RAID controller sees. We do that by pressing here, and now we are in the RAID controller and we can see what the RAID controller has. Most important data is right over here. It says that we have 2 data arrays. We have 2 data logical drives. Those are the drives that are being presented to the operating system, and they consist of each an array, and those arrays consist of these 6 disks. and I have a good idea of how they are made, but we can get more details, and that wasn't exactly what I was hoping for, so let's go back. So if we want to see some more, we need to go in and configure. I would think that we get more data in here. Yes, we see about the same thing. We have the two arrays, we have physical disks, we have unassigned drives, of which there is none. So we can go and we can see what's in the we can see the arrays here. Here we get them. Array number 1, which has a logical disk. It functions the way that the two in this array here, we have two physical drives, and they are in an array, and that presents one logical drive to the operating system. So that's how that works. So 450 gigabytes and 450 gigabytes, and that is 419.16 gigabytes 150 in a RAID 1. So these two drives are in a mirror in this array. Down here we have 4 drives, and each of those are a 1 terabyte drive, and they are made into a logical drive of 2.73 terabytes or 3 terabytes as it says here, and those are in a RAID 5. So the operating system will only see this and this. So it thinks it has a drive here of 450 gigabytes. It doesn't see that it's in a RAID 1. And down here it only sees that it has another drive of 3 terabytes. It does not see that it's in a RAID 5. So yeah, this is how that works. If we then move down and look at the physical drives, like here, there, press button, we see internal drive cage, port 1, box 3. I'm not sure why it says that. Box 3 is the thing that they're in, and these are ports. So the server sees 4 drives in each port, and that is like a physical cable inside of the server, and this RAID controller has 2 physical ports, so it can handle those 8 drives. If you need more drives, you need to do something else. You could put in an extra RAID controller, or you can start using SAS expanders, which is like a card you put in, and that will translate each of these ports into a number of more ports. So you don't get more throughput from these ports, you get access to more disks. So right now it's set to SAS hard drives up here, so we only see the SAS hard drives. So these two are 450 gigabytes and they're SAS drives. If we go up there and change that to SATA, we will see there that the other hard drives, the 1 terabytes in here, are SATA drive, and it actually says that they're SATA SSDs. I do believe that, so probably the 10,000K was from something else. I believe there's more. Apparently we have SSD drives in there, and as the first 4 drives are on the first port, the second 2 drives are on the second port, because you can only have 4 drives. Oops, that's 4 drives in one cable. And yeah, it might have been better to not put those 2 in those 2 slots, but have put them down here. I don't know if it does any difference, but well, it might have done a difference. So we can also pick all, and we'll see all of them, and yeah, that's probably the way to go. So yeah, then we can see more information on the individual drive. If we pick that, you can see out there we get some information on the drives. Rotating speed 10,000K. Let's pick one of the SSDs, and there's no rotating speed there. It actually says that it's a Samsung SSD 550. That's very, very nice of them. And there's another one, and another one, and another one. So yeah, Samsung SSDs are put in there, and I've even found drive cages for them where it's set 1 terabyte. Not often that I'm that lucky, but as you can see here, I have SAS drives and I have SATA drives. You cannot mix those in an array. So these two arrays here, if I had 1 terabyte SAS drives up here, I would not be able to take two 1 terabyte SAS drives and put them in the same array as the SATA drives. They have to be in separate arrays. So that was the physical drives. Then we have this thing here, that's unassigned drives. If I had any drives in here that wasn't being used for anything yet, they would be in there. So I think we might try and pop something in there, and I'm not sure if this drive has been used for something, but I have this drive, which is an it's a Hewlett Packard drive. It's a SSD. It's 480 gigabytes. SATA, I believe. Yeah, it's a SATA drive. So I'm gonna try and pop that in one of the empty slots that has these fillers in it, and we should see it pop up. These are hot pluggable, and you can configure them while the system is running. Sometimes you need to refresh up here. We might have to go do that. Now it's kind of checking it out a little bit. So let's see if it might already have installed something on it, but if we're lucky it turns up in here. If we're not lucky it doesn't. So it turned up in here, and that because there's nothing on it. How this was lucky. I couldn't have planned that any better. So unassigned drive, we see our 480 gigabyte drive. We can't do much with one drive, so we can pick it, and then down here we have some options what we want to do with this newly found drive. View details, erase drive, create array, array, that's gonna be just a single drive, or identify device, and that can be very helpful. I haven't tried that for a while. I think we will try and identify device. There, press, and it gives us a menu here of how we want to identify it. Yeah, we'll just pick that one, and then we'll see what it does. There. So now you can guess which drive we have identified. It's the blue one. So yeah, it lights up blue if we are identifying that drive. So that's pretty cool. It's a nice color. It would be irritating if it lighted up orange or an error. This blue thing is actually pretty cool. It's very neutral. Doesn't mean that the drive is defective or anything. It's just blue. So I wonder, we can now finish that. Finish. Can we then turn it off again? Identify device. Can we turn it off? Nope, there's actually no turning off feature. That's a bit weird. No, never mind. We could erase the drive. I haven't tried that actually. So, and it gives me different options to erase the drive. 1 pass, 2 pass, 3 pass, and yeah, it might take a while. I don't have anything there that we really want to waste time on deleting, so we're gonna cancel that again, but it's an option. Then next option is create array. There, create array. And with one drive we don't get many options. That will automatically be a RAID 0 because there's just that one drive. Then we have the different stripe sizes, which is beneficial. If you know this drive is going to be for tiny little files, I believe that you can go down in size. If you know you're going to put your movie collection on here, you can go up in size. This is kind of an old standard. This is like if we don't want to use the entire space for the drive, if we could in here we could actually take this drive and we could make 2 drives and only use half of the space. Or down here we can SSD over provisioning optimization, and that is something that takes a little bit of time. So if we don't want to do that, we should take it to no, and then it won't do that and it will not bother the drive as much. So but let's just do the standard and create that drive and press that button, and that will give us a third array up there. Now we have 3 arrays. Logical drive 1, logical drive, well, okay, it's A, B, and then the last one is magically C. It's at the bottom, the one at the bottom here, and just one drive. So, and that's how you forward a drive to the operating system. If you just want one drive put forward to the operating system, that's how you do it if you have a RAID controller. If you have an HPE in here, that works differently. That will automatically present the drives to the operating system one by one. The RAID controller is like the middleman. It will do some tasks for you. Like over here we have the cache manager, which can increase performance by quite a lot. And then we have some licensing and encryption manager. You can actually buy some more software licenses to the RAID controller that enable some stuff. I'm not a big fan of that. I think when you buy a piece of hardware, it should be able to do whatever it can. And this squeezing every penny out of you, I'm not a fan of that. But the cache manager, we might just go and check that out. It's not enabled right now because, as I said, the battery is not its best at the moment, but we can control a cache, and it tells us over here how our cache settings are. So cache status is okay. Controller cache module size, it has about 2 gigabytes of cache. Total cache available. Battery pack count 1. Battery capacity status, okay, so apparently it has become good. I was in here like 5 minutes ago and it was not good. So the server has been off for ages. I haven't used it for a while, and as soon as you turn the server on, it will start charging that battery that is in here, and apparently it has been charging long enough for this cache controller to go online, because before the cache wasn't on, it was disabled, because the cache only works when the battery is there. You can go in here under the modify settings and you can bypass that. If you're living on the edge, you can change that. At least sometimes you can. Yeah, you can. It's down here. You can always enable that. If you're living on the edge and you don't care about the battery backup, that means that if power is lost and the server crashes, or well, just the server crashes, you might lose the data that has not yet been written to the disk. With a cache controller, that data will be in the cache controller, and as soon as power is restored and the battery has not depleted, and these batteries are good for about 72 hours. So if the server crashes on Friday, there should still be power on the cache controller Monday morning, so don't wait too long. But yeah, you can override it, and we can see that we are looking at this drive where we can enable the cache controller, and so we can do that for each drive. So if the data doesn't matter, we might go in and do it for this drive and not for another drive, and so on and so forth. So you can go and you can mingle with your drives and get the best performance, and at the same time you can slow down performance and prioritize safety on another array or drive. So yeah, this works really well. So if you have a server like this, I just want to show you how to actually get in there and activate and be able to manage this. So I've just asked the server to boot, and I'm paddling because it takes a while, but yeah, this server is booting, and it's clear for everyone that I haven't updated it for ages, which my bad. So it might look a little bit different if you if you've been doing a better job than me and have been updating your server more regularly than this one. I forget, this is a Dell DL380 Generation 9. I might not have many updates later than 2019. This is not it's not a new gentleman anymore. It has a few years on its back, so maybe there isn't that many updates and I'm not that far behind. And maybe I should try and get rid of that reflection. Okay, that works a lot better. So it fills the screen with junk, as servers do. So if I then I just okay, there, and it turns on. And now we have these buttons in the bottom here, and if I press F10 for intelligent provisioning, we get into the menu where I want to show you how it looks. Here we can see all the data, and we can see that it's a generation 9, so I haven't been lying too much. You can also see the CPUs in it, and that it's 16 degrees in my data center. That's, it doesn't feel that cold. So yeah, this takes a bit, but I am very good at waffling, so we'll just keep talking. You can also see the ILO IP number here, and see that I haven't disabled IP6, which I usually do, because yeah, I don't, does any of you use IP6 yet? They have been talking about IP6 for like the last 15 years, and I don't know anyone who's really uses it yet. See, we have the smart storage battery failed, communication with the battery failed, so that was what I was talking about before. So we get an error. I need to press F1 to continue, so that it will ignore that. I have a visitor out here. This thing, big fat grasshopper. There is some kind of software package that has a big fat green grasshopper on it. Well, could be a sign. So now it's loading that. I'll try and chase the grasshopper out again. Okay, I'm not gonna waffle. This takes too long. So here you can configure your stuff. Last time I didn't have to do anything here; it just continued by itself. Initializing network, okay. And here we are back. I think we started right about here, didn't we? And I said we performed some maintenance, so we click that one. And then we are at this HPE Smart Storage Administrator. It's built into the BIOS. I'm not gonna lie, it's very convenient. And that was what I wanted to show you. If you have a new to you Hewlett Packard Enterprise server, it could be a Model 8, a Model 9, 10, 11. 11 you're pretty well, though those are expensive still. And you don't understand why the disks aren't being presented to the operating system. And usually it's like you get the server and you put in some disks, and then you want to boot your thingy, you put in a USB key and start up Windows Server or something else. And then when you get to where do you want to install this thing, there's just nothing. And this could be why, because if you put the drive in and it's not being presented to the operating system, you won't see the drive. And this is why. So I'm gonna cut it short here and just say thank you very much for watching my videos. Do subscribe to my channel so that you can see me again, and have a really nice day. Bye bye.